For a question like this on the new SAT 2016, what they're looking for is actually, I have two questions here, so I'm going to focus on this top one first and then do the second one a little later. All right, so for this first one, it's a function question. The key idea with function questions is to recognize that a function is nothing but just a substitution, right? But the trick in this question is if you read the beginning here, it says f of x minus 1 is equal to 2x plus 3. Well, if this had just been f of x, then all we had to do was just substitute the minus 3 into this x. But that is not the case here. This is not f of x. This is f of x minus 1, meaning that what you see here, the x plus 1, x minus 1, is equivalent to minus 3. So we need to plug in an x here to solve this question, but we need to figure what that x is. Figure out what that x is first. So what would I do here? Because this is x minus 1 for this position and this minus 3 is in the same kind of position as this x minus 1, I have to make those two things equal to each other. So x, it's a pretty bad x minus 1 is equal to minus 3. X minus 1 is equal to minus 3. Obviously, we need to solve this. So x is equal to minus 3 plus 1 because we have to add 1 on both sides to get rid of this minus 1 on this right side. So the x is minus 2. Now, the question is not asking us for x. The x is minus 2. Its question is not asking us for x. It's asking for what f of minus 3 is. But you have to recognize that because this is a function question, we need to be able to plug in a value in to this 2x plus 3. But that value has to be the value of x, which we just found. So the value of x is minus 2. So all you have to do now is to solve the question of f of minus 3. You just pretty much are putting it in here where your, let me kind of highlight this in a different color, where your x goes right there. Okay, so that becomes 2 of minus 2 plus 3, and this is minus 4 plus 3, which is minus 1. So the answer for this question is D. So again, recognizing that this is not an f of x question function, it is an f of x minus 1. So this minus 3 needs to be substituted for this x minus 1, solve for x, then plug that x into the main equation. All right, so for this second question here, I see this question a lot. While I was looking at questions to do for the SAT video here, I recognize this question, and a lot of students don't understand what it means for an expression to be a factor of a quadratic. Okay, so whenever it says that x minus 2 is a factor of a quadratic, it means if you solve the x minus 2, when I solve an equation, meaning you make it equal to 0, when you solve it equal to 0, which means x is 2, when you move this minus 2 over here, it gives you 2. When you solve for this x minus 2 equal to 0 and your x is 2, it means if I plug in 2 for my x values here and here, it makes this whole thing equal to 0. Okay, something that's a factor, when solved, its x value when plugged in into the x makes the whole quadratic 0. So what that allows me to do is it allows me to then say, okay, fine, I'm going to plug in this x of 2 in here. So if instead of having your x squared minus bx plus b, we would put 2 there for your x. We will put 2 there for your x again plus b. But that allows us to make it equal to 0, because what a factor does, if something is a factor of something, it means it goes perfectly into it, so there is no remainder, and this 0 is representing the remainder, means there's a 0 remainder. So you can plug in the value of x into the quadratic and it will make it equal to 0. That's what you do when something is a factor. So let's finish this out. So that's going to be 4 minus 2b plus b equal to 0 there. So let's just clean this out. This is 4 minus b, because you have minus 2b plus b is minus b equal to 0. All you have to do here is just move the b to the right because it's the one that's negative. So keep the 4, but I'm going to move this b over here, and that becomes positive b. So b is 4. So the answer to this second one is 4. So these are two questions you could easily see on the new SAT 2016. And again, for this test, they're looking for your understanding, or your solid understanding of your algebra, of your arithmetic. And so these are the kinds of questions you would see on the test. So all the best in the test.